Hi, Akhwa, do we have a reader?
Sheikh, shall I read if until
نعم.
Amir
Yeah.
comes?
Continue. نعم. تفضل يا أخي. تفضل.
Inshallah.
You can start.
No, no. Yesterday we finished the 44th point, huh?
We're on number 46 now. عزة
46
العلماء.
now.
نعم.
نعم إن شاء الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبي المرسلين أحسن الله إليكم. The Sheikh rahimahullah, he mentions 46, the glory of the scholars. Being adorned by the glory of the scholars includes preservation of knowledge and exalting it, protecting the honor of its glory and nobility. How much you profit from knowledge and implementing it depends on how much you spend of it in this way, and your loss is dependent upon how much you miss out from this. There are three and there can be no strength or might but by Allah, the
نعم.
Almighty, the All-Wise.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So the phrase here is in Arabic is ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العزيز الحكيم. And it is normally translated in English, or let me rephrase, it is normally mistranslated in English by saying there is no power and strength except in Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is a common mistranslation. A common mistranslation. لا حول, meaning there is no changing from one condition to another. ولا قوة, and there is no power or there is no strength except with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the proper translation for لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. There is no change from one condition to another or a power except from Allah Azza wa Jal. نعم.
نعم أحسن الله إليك. There is no power or strength in changing one's condition except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, be aware of people with high status paying you for your food, playing you for a fool, or being curbed by fools, which would result in you becoming lenient in your fatwas or in your verdict, assessment, or speech. Also, do not scurry to the materialistic people and stand at their doorsteps, and do not give it, i.e., knowledge, to those non-deserving of it, no matter what their status is. Relish your eyesight and your insight by reading the life and the biographies of the Imams that have passed away.
And that is that is yeah, Sheikh Harun, if there is no benefit, but if they benefit from it, then you go to them. And this is what Imam bin Uthaymeen said, that there are details when it comes to this. So if you go to the people of dunya and they benefit from it, then this is goodness. It is included in al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahy 'an al-munkar. As if they get bored and they start mocking and mocking you and mocking it or so, and so on. لا, this is degradation for this noble ilm. نعم.
No. Ahsanullah ilayk. Relish your eyesight and your insight by reading the life and biographies of the Imams that have passed away. If you do so, you will see self-sacrifice for the sake of this protection, especially in the books that collected examples of this, such as Min Akhlaq al-Ulama, from the etiquettes of scholars, by Muhammad Sulaiman, Al-Islam Bayan al-Ulama'i wal-Hukkam.
I can read.
Between the
I'll read it, inshallah Azza wa Jal. So من أخلاق العلماء لمحمد سليمان رحمه الله, and the book which is called الإسلام بين العلماء والحكام لعبدالعزيز البدري رحمه الله, وكتاب مناهج العلماء في الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر لفاروق السامرائي. نعم. وأرجو أن ترى أضعاف ما ذكروا, and I hope that you see multiple folds of what they have mentioned in another book, which is the book عزة العلماء يسر الله إتمامه وطبعه. يعني the Sheikh asks that Allah makes easy its publication. نعم.
نعم. أحسن الله إليك. The scholars used to make their seekers memorize the poem of Jurjani Ali ibn AbdulAziz, and it can also be found in his biography. It begins as follows.
نعم.
They say there is
نعم.
some...
Al-Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala says, if you see that the people of dunya, they turn to you and they accept what you say and they benefit from it and they're comfortable with it and so on, then there is no problem in going to them and giving them da'wah and teaching them, and vice versa. And then when it comes to the books, Imam bin Uthaymeen said, and from the best of the books that I have seen, the Sheikh is saying, Imam bin Uthaymeen, Rawdatul Uqala for Ibn Hibban al-Busti. Rawdatul Uqala for Ibn Hibban, rahimahullah. And it is a beneficial book, despite how brief it is. And he has accumulated, gathered, a large number of benefits and what the ulama and the muhaddithin have done and so on. And it was for part of the curriculum in the ma'ahid, in the colleges and so on. And the Sheikh says in Imam bin Uthaymeen, at the time of our studying in the ma'had, and many people have benefited from it. The ma'had at their time is like college right now. And then the Imam says, as for what the author has mentioned, these books that he has mentioned, some of them we have seen and some of them we haven't. And some of them are extremely brief. And to revise, to go through the book Siyar A'lam al-Nubala for Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah ta'ala is extremely and truly beneficial. A student of knowledge should read in it and revise it. Ya akhu, I add to what the Sheikh says, don't think that Siyar A'lam al-Nubala is an easy read. Don't think that Siyar A'lam al-Nubala you're going to buy a one volume. It's multiple volumes. Not to mention that there are so many things in it that you don't have the tahqiq of. And you don't know, is this authentic or not? And here I would like to give you a benefit, barakallahu fikum. I remember I had a colleague, a co-worker, and he was heavily influenced by the sects and the people that are upon the Kharijites way and so on. He's not a student of knowledge. And he starts talking about what Ibn Kathir said, and Ibn Kathir said this in Al-Bidayah and Al-Nihaya. And he would argue with me. He says, Ibn Kathir is wrong and you are right. I say, subhanallah, Ibn Kathir, when he made his tafsir, when he made Al-Bidayah and Nihaya, which is about history and so on, he never said in the beginning of the book that I only narrated what is authentic. Actually, you will find extremely weak and inauthentic narrations in them. Books like these. So this is not a book that Ibn Kathir has made it for a layman 700 years later that can barely say an Arabic word correctly with the correct punctuation on it. the dhamma, the fatha, as if you are a a'jami, as if you are a non-Arab. So there is a huge difference, especially when Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala has authored some of these books for students of knowledge. For students of knowledge that know the isnad and know the... So therefore, ya ikhwan, sometimes we get some of these books with the best of tahqiq in order to understand. In order to understand and see, is this authentic or inauthentic? Because you're left in the middle. You're like, Talib, this is a hadith. Do I act upon it or not? Is it authentic or not? And when you look at what the ulama said, you'll find it extremely weak, for example. You'll find this in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. You'll find this in Bidayah and Nihaya. And the same thing you will find where? In Siyar A'lam al-Nubala for Al-Dhahabi. I know that the best, I think the best tab'a for it is Tayyibah, the best publication for him. But I'm not up to date. If there is one. There's also a Risala, I think, as well. But I'm not sure if somebody has actually authenticated what's in Siyar A'lam al-Nubala. That would be also extremely beneficial. Extremely beneficial. Especially for muqallids like us, like me, that we just see what the ulama say in regards to authenticating. In terms of Tafsir ibn Kathir, I contemplated, before doing it, Tafsir al-Sa'di, I contemplated actually going through it, because in English you don't have the authentication. In Arabic we do. I contemplated it, that we go through the Tafsir ibn Kathir, and I would tell you this is Sahih, this is Da'if, this is Hasan, this is because we do have the best publication that has that type of tahqiq. I think it's by Dar ibn al-Jawzi. نعم, it's by Dar ibn al-Jawzi. Anyway, Siyar A'lam al-Nubala is a lot of volumes. You're talking about a big book. We're talking about volumes upon volumes. Just so you know. نعم.
أحسن الله إليك. It begins as follows. They say there is some discomfort in you, but in fact, they saw a man who withdrew from the place of humiliation. I saw that whoever draws nearer to people would become insignificant to them, and whoever is honored by self-esteem will be honored. And if only the people of knowledge protected it, it would in turn have protected them. And if they exalted it in the heart of people, it would have been exalted.
نعم.
Now, point number 47, protection of...
نعم, go ahead.
أحسن الله إليك. Point number 47, protection of knowledge. If you attain status, then remember that the rope that helped you to reach it was seeking knowledge. So by the grace of Allah, and then due to your knowledge, you reached whatever status you have reached in this teaching post or fatwa or judiciary post and so on. So give knowledge its due respect and fair share of implementation and its due status. Be aware of the way of those who do not show...
At the time, ya Sheikh Harun, at the time of Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala, these big scholars, they used to be in qada as well. Yani in judicial systems, they used to be judges as well. And subhanallah, the claim that they don't rule by the ruling of Allah Azza wa Jal was still being claimed at their time. Yani if you look at the biographies of Imam ibn Baz, he was the head of, he was a judge. Sheikh Salih al-Luhaydan was a judge. These are some of the biggest ulama of their time. Imagine, these people were judges. The minister for the Ministry of Islamic Affairs used to be Sheikh al-Allama Salih al-Sheikh. And I remember when years ago, this is recently, not long ago, this was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that, when Sheikh Abdul Shway'i, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him, was explaining Minhaj al-Salikin in Mecca, he was talking about, go watch it, it's 30 something lessons, he was talking about which madhab they act upon in courts. And he made the claim, he said, and whosoever says that they in Saudi they don't rule by the ruling of Allah Azza wa Jal, and this is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. The ruling of Allah Azza wa Jal is being ruled with. Of course, no one is saying there aren't shortcomings. There are shortcomings even 1,000 years ago in ruling by the ruling of Allah Azza wa Jal. There are shortcomings. But anyway, but subhanallah, look, even at the time, back in the day where these, the biggest of the ulama, they were judges as well, still the same claims were being made. The same claims were being made. And the only arrows they shoot, their arrows, these people, they only shoot their arrows towards Saudi, the land of Tawheed, or the Gulf region in general. Subhanallah, in my head I always say it's like picking on the first in class. The top student, picking on him. Like, he's the top. These are the top, the best in the world in applying the Sharia and adhering to Islam and the Tawheed and the most important things in Islam. When there are shortcomings, you make dua to them. When there are shortcomings, it's advice, dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify. They move away from every place else that has some of the biggest calamities in the world. And sometimes they even do what? They praise them. They praise the other places, even if it was a disbelieving country, even if it was Europe or it's a non-Muslim country. They praise them, no problem. Tawheed, they have no Tawheed there. They're not even Muslim, no problem. They praise them. But the land of Tawheed, we have to slander them. We have, even at the time of these imams when they were at the head of qada and so on. Subhanallah, where is the comparison, ya Sheikh Harun? Yani even when they praise some countries, they have prostitution, they have they're also not ruling like they claim. I'm just saying their claims that they rule by other than the ruling of Allah Azza wa Jalla. طيب, the same thing applies to these other places. La, no. The only one that we want to attack is Saudi or يعني in the Gulf region, and so these are the ones we attack. Ya akhi, subhanallah, instead of attacking, make dua. And why would you go and attack the one who is the best? And turn your eye to where there is violations of Tawheed, where there is disbelief, where there is so and so and so and so. La, they will try to find whatever, even if it is not comparable with the calamities that happen at other places. No, they don't care. They don't care. Kufr, shirk, no problem. There's a musical concert. You see, no longer Muslims. Subhanallah. La, this is a sin. And just like there is this, there is also the most people that memorize the Quran. There is also the graduation of thousands of gentlemen and thousands of ladies that have memorized the Quran. No, we don't want to look at that. No, we want to hide that. It's just whenever there is something wrong, look, these are the lands of Tawheed. These are, subhanallah. This is what sickness and evil is in the hearts. We make dua even to the other lands that we say dua. Why not? Make dua. Say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify our affairs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify the affairs of everyone and all the countries and all the rulers and make dua and say a good word and be kind and sincerely do that. Rectify and make dua to yourself and to your parents, and subhanallah. Ya akhi, wallahi ajib. Sometimes we are astonished when it comes to these people. If somebody were to turn and subhanallah, this is not nasiha. This is pure evil, as Al-Allam Al-Fawzan said. And do you accept if someone came and started talking about your family like that, talking about your house like that, talking about your father like that, and then they come and say this is advice? No, as the ulama said, this is not nasiha. This is fadiha. Allah al-musta'an. Naam. Yeah, this is not an advice. This is a what do you call it? Fadiha. This is a scandal. Allah al-musta'an. Naam.
Be aware of
when the ulama, Ya Sheikh Harun, when the ulama heard this claim, they said we are doing inkar, we are doing nahi about munkar. They said this is the munkar, what you're doing. This is not nahi for not forbidding munkar. What you're doing is munkar itself. It's evil itself. Not denouncing evil. And go and look at what these imams said. Naam.
Be aware of the way of those who do not show reverence towards Allah, those who base their foundations upon protecting their status. So their tongues become enwrapped from speaking the word of truth, and they are led to act accordingly by the love of their status. Therefore, adhere to preserving your value by preserving your piety, knowledge, and self-esteem with wisdom and good diplomacy. Preserve Allah, He will preserve you. Preserve Allah at times of ease, He will preserve you at times of hardship. If you are
Sheikh Harun, I can barely understand what you're saying. I think there's a problem with the mic. Do you have a...
Wait, am I audible now, Sheikhna?
Yeah, now you're audible. But before it was like there's a lot of echo. But anyway, the translation is our dear beloved brother Sheikh Harun. The translation that he read was to preserve your piety. بحفظ دينك, يعني to preserve your religion. And Imam bin Uthaymeen, نعم احفظ الله يحفظك. This is the messenger said it. Preserve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah preserves you. يعني be watchful and mindful of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is what is meant by preservation here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserves you. And being lenient to those that don't want the haqq is what the Sheikh is warning us against. Don't be. Yani become what? Become someone who is strong and someone who has pride and so on. Not humility and breaking yourself in. For they don't want the haqq. The haqq is with you, so you are strong and you are proud. And ya ikhwa, it should be so. You are upon the haqq. Let others copy you. Don't go and humiliate yourself and start copying others. Let them copy you. I'll give you an example. I once saw someone who's famous talking about a very famous Muslim UFC, ultimate fighting champion, called very famous, called Habib Nur Muhammadov. I think everyone knows Habib. And I listened to someone who's extremely famous, very famous, very famous, and he said what? He said that this fighter, this sportsman, this Muslim sportsman, he has a certain kind of, I don't remember exactly, but he has certain grace. He brings grace and etiquette, and he brings this and that, and people want to be like him. People want to be, and they respect him so much. And he did what? He would obey the teachings of Islam. He wouldn't shake the hands of women, or wouldn't be looking at women, and he would be not saying no to alcohol, and he mentions Allah Azza wa Jalla, stuff like that. He was showing people this identity, so people wanted to be like him. And subhanallah, ya ikhwa, why do the Muslim want to mimic the disbeliever? La, let them mimic you. Trust me, they will love it, because it goes with their instinct. No, even if they say bad things, but when they see it, they look and say, what is this? Allahu Akbar, what is this? And there is, I remember also, but I don't know his name, there is a millionaire French man, and I think his wife and so on. He's a millionaire. And when they asked him about Islam and so on, and he's a millionaire, he said, the chastity of Muslim women is something else. He was talking about the chastity of Muslim women, and that they have the most chastity in the world, more than any other women in the whole world. Subhanallah. Look, there are things that are appreciated. People will look at that and they will be like, that will influence people. So don't compromise, is what I'm trying to say. And I give you examples, even though I'm not good with these examples. I'm not very knowledgeable about these examples, but I've seen these, and there are more than them as well. There are more than them, but they get influenced. They see this and they're like, look at this, look at the class of these people. There is class, there is grace, there is manners, there is honor, there is virtue. These people have these meanings which are lost otherwhere. At other places they are lost. They have virtues. They have, no, this is a different type. I tell you a story that happened with me when I wasn't even a student of knowledge back then, and I didn't have the long beard and so on. I did not. And I'll just tell you how some people look at us. And but alhamdulillah, I used to pray. I respect my religion. It's not like if I didn't have the beard, I'm la. But anyway, I remember I was in Germany, and I went and I had dinner somewhere, and while I was going back, I had a little bit of a dangerous encounter there. I didn't even know what to do. There was a park. I came back. Some people stopped me, and these people were doing drugs. For the first time in my life, ya ikhwa, I saw drugs. And I didn't know what to do. Because at this type of situation, you want to be what? You want to have some politics. You don't want to, because they might harm you. Yeah, they might harm you. They might have a weapon or something. But I remember there was a European guy. He looks white, as you call them, like white, from that race, as in the West they call them white. And there was someone who was African. And there were some others, and they were doing drugs. And they were drinking alcohol. And Allah al-Musta'an. And I was trying, they were talking to me, and I just want to leave. And it turns out they were Muslims. One of them was African, the other one was, I think, Bosnian, and he looked very European. And then a third, and the rest I don't remember. And then a new guy came in. And he asked me, he said, where are you from? He was Moroccan. And then he asked me, he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Kuwait. So he looked at him, he's like, why did you stop him? And he told me, and you go. He said, these are angels. Look how they perceived. Look, he said, these are angels compared to us here and compared to. But I listened to their problems, right? They were telling me about their problems and how they ended up like this and so on. And instantly, when I got the chance, I left. And they had problems that has to do with, they couldn't get jobs, and they weren't even permitted to as they claimed, by the government. So they found this type of life as well. But anyway, so look at how they perceive. Look at how they said, these, compared to you, these are angels. They don't have these things. These people go to the masajid, these people go, they have nothing to do with this, with drugs and what you guys are doing. Subhanallah. Look at how they perceive يعني. Therefore, ya ikhwa, a person, and this is the advice and the lesson that needs to be learned here, barakallahu fikum, wherever you are on earth, you should influence them, not them influencing you. They should be looking up to you, not you humiliating yourself, breaking yourself and steeping low and thinking, and by that you are looking up to them. Because trust me, they are not above you. Islam is above everything else. So if they're going to look above, they're going to have to adhere to Islam and the teachings of Islam. So that's how we should be. Subhanallah. How many a person entered Islam because he wanted to marry a certain woman, and afterwards he would never give up Islam, even if he divorces her, even if you give him all the money on the earth, he wouldn't leave Islam. But look at the identity. Not allowed to marry. You must become a Muslim. طيب, I'll become a Muslim. And then he enters Islam, sees the beauty of Islam, he says, I don't want to leave it. Look, this is we don't give. It's not so easy. The most precious thing is not given easy, ya ikhwa. You don't give the most precious thing easily. If you had a diamond, the most precious diamond, you don't give it up easily. You don't let people watch it. You don't let people touch it. You don't let people degrade it and so on. Your religion is the most important thing. This is your identity. Influence others. Don't get influenced. And not to mention our women. You'll never find like our women. The most precious. Therefore, when someone comes and says, why do you cover and so on? But you think I'm crazy? I have such a precious diamond, and you want me to tangle it in front of everyone and say, look at it and taste it and touch it and la. But because for them it has become so cheap, no problem. Do whatever. You can portray them in the cheapest ways or whatever it is. No protection whatsoever. Even, subhanAllah, I remember my mother. I know I've told you a lot of stories, but Allah al-Musta'an, we'll get back to the book. But I remember when my mother was in, because we were on medical treatment, when she saw homeless people, she was shocked. She was telling me, Mama, in Arabic, sometimes she would tell her, the father would tell his son or his daughter, Baba. This does not mean that she is the father, right? But anyway, my mom was telling me, son, as if she's telling me son. So what is this? Well, they don't have houses? What is this? She was looking at homeless and she was shocked. Like how could there be women that are sleeping on the street? Aren't they scared? She says, aren't they afraid? Something happens to them. I said, things do happen to them. They do get raped and stuff like that happen, and they're thrown on the street, subhanAllah. Or they're sleeping in bags and so on. For her, this was something that is so astonishing, and what a calamity. Like, what is this? Subhanallah. La. For us, it's not like, you will never find something like this. Kind of people, they protect their honor, they protect their families, and especially women. Because they are so precious, and they do need protection. And why are we men then? Khalas, then we're not men if we're not going to protect our women and our families and our children. And no, Allah, subhanallah. How, wallahi, it's in German they say gedreht, it's upside down. It's upside down. Subhanallah. Everything so upside down you have in these Western kind of dogmas, and it's upside down. How could this not be the norm? This is even nature. Human nature is like this. But so some people fight against it to the point that, Allah al-Musta'an. Wallahi, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Allah al-Musta'an. Na'am.
Naam, Ahsanallah ilayk. Sheikh, is my voice clear?
Much better now.
Naam, Ahsanallah ilayk. If you are dismissed from the burden of responsibility, and this is your path, even after a long period, then no harm is done. For it is a praiseworthy expulsion and not one of blameworthiness and degradation.
Apologies, ya Sheikh Harun. I'm not letting you. But since we are talking on the subject, and I think this is extremely important, because in the thousands of questions that I got, I keep getting asked about dating. Do you want? Let's address it for a little bit. Even if we go off topic, because this is so important for us. Some people, they talk about dating in comparison to marriage. Wallahi, I can't get my head wrapped around this. Imagine this. How can you even compare? Imagine this. Ya Sheikh Ishaq. Ya Sheikh Fatin. Imagine, how do you even compare in the first place? Dating, you can always escape. There are no responsibilities. You can always end it. You can always run away. You can always, there is no protection for anybody's rights whatsoever. And you can date multiple people and so on. And the mentality in the first place is child's play. Yeah, I'm gonna try it out. And let's see if it is good. If it's not, I'm just gonna run away. Compared to preserved rights mentality of, we are there, you know, I got your back, you got mine. Huh? As you say in the English language, I am yours, you are mine. We are in this relationship, we are in this ship to sail. It's unbelievable for them, and they don't, like, how can we get our heads, how do we understand this? What do you mean, how do you understand this? When you go to meet the Islamic, first of all, dating, what is dating? Dating, you can date 10 people at the same time, and a'udhu billah, they do the fahisha, they fornicate, and for men, that's the only thing they want. Then they might dump you, and as they say in English, and meaning what? Meaning they leave you. And dump you meaning as if you throw something. That's how it is linguistically. Throwing something. He throws you and leaves you, and he finds something else. And this is what the most thing that men care about, by the way, is that he gets that intimacy, and that's it for him. He was there just to get this intimacy. After this intimacy, he starts changing his mind. He starts thinking something else. Or actually, his whole goal is to reach this, and that's it. That's the only thing he's looking for. There are no rights preserved. In some countries, he can even not take care, even if she gets pregnant and so on. He doesn't get involved that much. Like, what about the rights? And what about this destructive mentality? Imagine someone just wants to play around. Imagine we're just going to date. There is no commitment. There is no... It's just like saying, you know, I'm going to do this, but I'm not really going to stick around till the end. I'm not gonna, what I want to do is just, what is this? This is playing around. This is toying. I ask you from a perspective that you might have never considered, what if by doing that you actually missed out on someone who's actually worth it and he's there for life? And you missed it out because you're fooling around. You're doing stupidity. That's what it is. The honor of people, the family, getting children and having children and making a household and a home is not something to toy with and to try out and get out. This is something that needs commitment. This is more than serious than jobs. When it comes to a job, you have to obey and you have to stick by the rules, and it is not a child's play. But when it comes to family and a home and children and a house and the whole thing that makes up society, I can toy with it. I'll try it out. I say, this is not a good mentality. This is destructive for societies. Extremely destructive. Like, what about arranged marriages? The best, hands down, even statistically. But people have the wrong idea. They think when it comes to arranged marriages, I don't see her, huh? I'm not going to see her. Khalas, we are married, now I see her. Oh, I don't like her, she doesn't like. This is not how arranged marriages go. This is not how Islamic marriages, call them whatever you want to call them. Arranged, whatever. Islamic, call them Islamic, because arranged marriages may be something else. Islamic marriages. What is an Islamic marriage? Islamic marriage is we protect our men and women. We protect our families. There is no toying around. There is no joking around. It's not a game. It's a home. It's a family. It's one of the most important things that you will have in life. So you want to get married, you have to be serious about it. You visit the family. Your family will see their family, or your sister will go with you, and she will. Sometimes in how we do it, the females of the family, they will go and sit with the females of that family, and they will see the woman, and the woman will be dressed nicely, and they will see her beauty, and they will sit with her and will see how she behaves, and they will talk to her, and she will talk to them, and so on. And the next meeting, you will go with the women, and you will sit, and the sister will be there, and you will talk with her. but you're not going to be alone. So the sister is there, you're talking to her, and her brother, for example, or father are still in the room, but they're far away. They might not be even listening to what you're saying. They give you some room. This is how it should be done. And she should show her hijab. She should take off her, she can take off her hijab, because you want to see her face, and hijab is covering the face. You will see her face, you can see her hair even, no problem. She can dress normally. And the Messenger ﷺ said, انظر إلى ما يدعوك إلى نكاحها. Look at what will make you marry her. Because men, they will look at her beauty, they will look at her, especially beauty. Men are men. I heard something funny and straight to the point and very eloquent, said by Sheikh Faris Hamadi. And I was speaking to him yesterday and I was laughing about what he said. He said, boys, he means men and so on, but he has this very eloquent way of talking to youngsters. He says, boys are very naughty people, or he said, naughty people. And he says, trust me, I know, I'm one of them. I second that. And if you remember, we asked the men here, all of them, not one said no, all of them, unanimously. So, انظر إلى ما يدعوك إلى نكاح. So, he can look, he can see, especially if she does not know, she doesn't know, he can see that which will make him marry her. So he can go, he can even see her head with her hair, and she makes her hair good and so on, and she's dressed nicely. It doesn't have to be the abaya, so she's dressed nicely. He sees her hands, sees her feet, he sees her. He can see her. He knows how she looks and how she, but of course she doesn't look inappropriate. Of course, that's not what is meant. She's dressed nicely and so on. And he speaks with her. And then if they want to have a second gathering, they can. If they want to have a third gathering, they can. If they want to have 10, 20 gatherings, they're playing around. There's no such a thing. You can sit with them, no problem. And you see the families and so on, twice, 3 times. I did it. And inshallah, Azza wa Jal, you get married. Yeah, but I will not know her well. Ya akhi, your friend that you know for 7 years, when you travel together, you say, I am shocked. I didn't know he was like this. And you know him for 7 years. Who are you joking? Stop manipulating people and stop manipulating this. There is no such thing as, why do people break up then? And they continue for years. He spent a month. They spent a month together. He didn't know her in a month. They spent a year. Sometimes they spend 10 years. He didn't get to know her in 10 years. And then they leave. Ya akhwa, this is nonsense. There is no such a thing. I will know a person. Ya akhi, your co-worker that you see every day for 6 hours and 7 hours a day. After 5 years, you say, I'm shocked. I didn't know that he's like this. You cannot know a person. What do you mean? I have to be in a relationship. Actually, this whole dating experience, it's a lot of fakeness that's happening. A lot of the real thing is when you are in the same house and she is your wife and you are there to make the ship sail. Wallahi ya akhwa, if we just compare mentalities, look at the sick mentality in comparison to the healthy mentality. Sick mentality, dating. I don't know. I will see how things work out. I cannot even say I love her, right? This is what they teach on media. Don't say love. Oh, you say I love you. She's going to leave you. He's going to leave you because you said it. What is this nonsense? Then why are you there even in the first place? Playing, because they're toying and they're playing. And they're being manipulated into this mindset. The mentality, we're just trying it out. It's not, we're not there to say we want this to work. Imagine, do this in a company. I want you to accept this for your business. So we're just gonna try it out. I'm gonna put money. I'm gonna put 100,000. I'm not in it to make it. We're not there to actually do it, to make the ship sail. Now the mentality is, let's try it out. If it's not good, we're just gonna leave and run away. No one will accept this. Everyone will say, are you crazy? But you accept it for relationships and family and your honor. You accept it for your brother, your son, your sister, your daughter. But business, no. But when it comes to marriage, what is the mindset and what the mindset should be? Look, right now, some people, they say, yeah, but a lot of, even in Islam, it's not working out that much. Yeah, because they're influenced by your mindset. That's why. Things are getting corrupted nowadays. But anyway, let's talk about it Islamically. We don't care about what people do. People do mistakes. That's not Islam. That's that person's fault, even if he's a Muslim or not a Muslim. But in Islam, the mindset, the whole mindset is what? Why did you go to the house to see her? I want her to be my wife. I want her to be the mother of my children. Why did she sit? Now there is why did she come to sit with you? That's inshallah Azza wa Jal, my future man. That's the one that I want to please. And that's my lady that I want to please. Look, the mentality, I don't want to get divorced. I'm here. I want marriage. I want family. Hey, this is different. Makes it a lot more successful. And let's talk about the nonsense that ruins people, the chase, the game, the I don't know what. And look at the mentality, the most sick mentality when it comes to that. No, you have to humiliate her in order to gain her, and she has to humiliate you in order to get. None of this when it comes to Islamic marriage. There's no silliness, there's no toying, there's no child's play. This is child's play. I don't know. Ignore her so that she, this what happens in this silliness. No, don't look like you don't pay attention to her. Don't pay attention to him, and so that now she will be interested, and you have to do this and you have to do that, and it's a whole I don't know what, and it's such a headache and so many problems, and nothing happens in the end. And what is this? But in marriage, none of that. You give her attention, she gives you attention. There's no game and chase. She's yours. There's no chase, huh? She's yours. Do you understand this, ya ikhwa? That's why when a non-Muslim enters into Islam and marries someone, or the Muslim, when he marries someone who's non-Muslim, they are absolutely shocked. They say, these people are family-oriented, huh? This is a man. You actually have a man. Huh? You have a wife that cooks, that takes care of the house. You actually do have a mom, a wife at home. You have a home at home where you belong. There's someone that's taking care of the whole family. And of course, you help her, and everyone helps, and so on. And when you have a man, you have a man, an actual man. Not the silly dating, I don't know what you pay for yourself. I don't know, you do for yourself. La, you have a man. He takes care of everything. He says, you do, man, by the definition of the word. Protection, my job. Taking care of you, my job. Huh? Doing that which is in your best interest, my job. You're going to do something that is bad for your own self. Nah, I will protect you against your own self. I will take care of it. I am the man. I will take care of you. And you have also a woman at the house. You don't have to look outside. I'll do everything you need. I'll do everything you want. You'll have a partner, inshallah, Azza wa Jal, for life, or that suits you, inshallah, Azza wa Jal. You'll have, you come to a house. It's not a house. It's a home. You have things in order. You'll find a clean thing to wear. You'll find a hot meal. You'll always go back to a hot meal. You'll always go back to, you're taken care of. And vice versa. And the children have to be dutiful to their parents, and the parents have to be dutiful to their children. And the parents will take care of their children from A to Z. And when they get older, the children will take care of their parents. So look at the system of Islam. No dating. I don't know what. Run away from your parents. Don't talk to me like that. A little kid that used to change his diapers is talking back to you and yelling at you, and he's harming himself. And when you grow older, he doesn't have nothing to do with you. What is this? This is what people are aspiring to? If this is not sickness, if this is not a catastrophe, if this is not a disease and a pandemic and an epidemic, I don't know what it is then. I get shocked, wallahi, when I get, what do you mean? Marriage, no dating? No, what is dating? There is protection. You know what protection is? You call it in English. And this is, I told you, I would like to, sometimes we say heinous things in order for people to understand how heinous it is. Women are not that you do something and then you throw her away. That's it, I finished. Khalas. No need for you anymore. La. We're talking about a family here. We're talking about something you must honor. And people think this is degrading. I don't understand how not using women or men and honoring both of them. This is honor. That, you know what? If there is anything that's going to happen between us, it's going to be something that is a relationship, a family, a house, a home, legally protected, everything. People know. This is honoring, ya akhwa. Honor. You have honor here. You're honoring her. She's honoring you. No, but no, I'll do whatever. I'll use you. I'll do whatever. As if I'm, a'udhu billah, using something and throwing it. I don't even want to say the word, but I hope that you got it. I use something and I throw it. That's what you are to me. Which one is honoring and which one is degrading? Which one that should be looked down upon it? How can this be the norm? Wallahi, sickness. Wallah, so sick that is spreading nowadays. طيب, where were we, ya Sheikh?
Naam, Shaykhana, we finished the point, and now we are going to. It is astonishing. Naam. Ahsanallah alayk. It is an astonishing affair that those who have been prevented from a large portion of prosperity do not have adherence, repentance, or do they return to Allah except after retirement. And even though such people's repentance is religiously valid, is like a faith of the old commoner, because his benefit is not passed on to the people. As for his character during his period of employment, you will find him to be amongst the most evil and harmful of people, or too cold-hearted and dumb in speaking the truth. I seek refuge in Allah from such humiliation.
نعم, Imam bin Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala says it is better that we do not when it comes to speaking in two different situations, speak at the situation where you are going to be hurt and where people are respond to you. And the hadith نعم, this is طيب, from the hadith. And the last thing that the Sheikh said, when it comes to excluding oneself, sometimes it happens and it is praiseworthy and it is honor, it is elevation of status, because he's doing that which is obligatory and he's holding himself above certain things that are not befitting. لا عفوا, I misread. And there are sometimes they fire people or they let them off. Sometimes it's praiseworthy and sometimes it's blameworthy. Nah, this is what the Sheikh is talking about. He says لأن من الناس من يعزل محمدة وعزة, because some people might be laid off because of that is praiseworthy and it is honor to him, because he is doing that which is mandatory upon him from observation and from honesty and so on, at his job and whatever he does. However, some people might try to work against him and make it so narrow for him. They dig holes for him to make him fall into it, and this is a lot we seek refuge by Allah Azza wa Jalla. And absolutely so, wallahi, just like what the Sheikh said. Wallahi, sometimes you see someone at work carrying out his job, doing his job, and you see he's doing that which is, he's fearful of Allah Azza wa Jalla, he's doing that which is obligatory, and you see everyone around him, illa man rahim Allahu Azza wa Jalla, they're bothered by him, they want him, they don't want him here anymore because they want to do things which are haram, they want to trick people, they want to do this or that. And the Sheikh says this is a lot nowadays, unfortunately, and we say to the Sheikh, and this has increased as well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rectify us and the Muslims to what pleases him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta